Long queues for fuel and food have formed in the South African coastal city of Durban after looting and rioting destroyed businesses and caused them to close shop. Business owners in the city are slowly returning to their premises to evaluate the damage following days of unrest. Many businesses have been totally wiped out and destroyed after angry mobs looted virtually every shop in the center and the city's malls. Meanwhile, firefighters have lined the streets to begin the grueling process of cleaning up the mess in Durban. Some residents have also joined in armed with brooms. They have been chasing away anyone trying to loot whatever is left. It will take a while to clear the trail of destruction that left at least 72 people dead, with more than 1,200 others arrested across KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, the two provinces affected by the violence sparked by the jailing last week of former President Jacob Zuma for contempt of court.
Meanwhile, the African Union Commission has condemned the violence in South Africa. In a statement made by the chairperson, he called for an urgent restoration of order, peace and stability in the country, in full respect of the rule of law. He said failure to resolve the crisis would have grave impact in the country and the region. For an update, we now cross live to Johannesburg, where our correspondent Mxolisi Masango is standing by. Mxolisi, good to have you again. We're looking at a day subsequent to yesterday, and the death toll is ticking. We now have over 70 people dead and more than 1,000, I think about 1,300 in prison. Is it likely the police or the police apparatus is likely to get a handle on this anytime soon?
Well, forces on the ground are still quite overwhelmed by what has been happening, seeing that the unrest continues in some parts of KwaZulu-Natal, which has officially been identified as one of the hotspots of the looting that we've seen. And of course, the arrest toll continues to rise as it is right now, where we've seen members of the military, the South African National Defence Force, actually trying to curb tensions. But what we also do know now, with news coming in, is that the official opposition party in the country has laid charges against the daughter of the former President Jacob Zuma, Duduzile Zuma, for incitement of violence, as well as against the EFF CIC Julius Malema. Now, we've just been told that they've laid a charge with the nearest police station because they feel that Duduzile Zuma has been one of the prominent figures on social media who's been inciting people to go and loot. On the backhand of this, also in Soweto, not too far from where we are right now, we are seeing cleanup efforts continue in some of the malls, where we've seen some employees of some of the retail groups that have been hardest hit trying to slowly pick up the pieces. They have their black refuse bags trying to clean up the area with some of the rubbish trucks coming to collect as it is. It's a very grim and a sad picture that we're seeing, with some of the employees saying that their jobs are all they have right now, as it seems like it's going to take a while for South African stores to come back from the looting that we've seen happening over the past couple of days.
Mxolisi, tell us about the queue for fuel and food we're hearing about. How serious is the problem of food shortages at this time in these provinces that have been affected? We are also hearing calls for a state of emergency to be imposed from the Chamber of Commerce, from the Beer Association, and many more businesses in South Africa. Is this a call that the government is likely to heed?
Business Unity South Africa did come out that there needs to be a really well thought out recovery plan, because economies in the country is not really going to come back from this, or it's slowly going to come back from this, as we're seeing the efforts to really try and bring back things back to normalcy. The question remains, how long is this going to take? We've had South Africans having to now drive a distance of about 30 minutes just to get a mere loaf of bread, because shops have been looted nearest to them. Bank branches have been looted nearest to them. South Africans now having to travel long distances because their stores have been looted. So it seems like the efforts of now trying to clean up although they are slowly gaining momentum, it's only now that South Africans are starting to feel the pinch of the looting that was happening in the country over the past few days. Meanwhile, in Soweto, we've seen people throughout the course of this morning going about having their barbecues and drinking the alcohol that they took from the looting. Police officers literally right now going from house to house arresting some people. So it would seem right now that the pinch of the unrest that has been happening is starting to be slowly felt in the country right now.
Okay, and then we hear that South Africa is looking to social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook to crack down on the looting and destruction. Tell us how this will work.
Well, they have basically just came up with this proposal to say that most South Africans have been spreading fake news with what has been happening and where it has been happening. And this is also at the back of that press conference that we got yesterday from the state security, in which they came out to say that our close associates to the former president, Jacob Zuma, will be investigated for inciting violence. They further went on to say that social media was one of the biggest spreaders of fake news during this unrest, further causing panic throughout the country. It really remains to be seen how organizations such as the National Editors Forum is going to be maneuvering around this without, of course, with ensuring that press freedom for journalists, for us to be on the ground, to be covering what is happening and reporting it, still goes out as it is, without infringing on press freedom and without of course, with ensuring that South Africans can still express themselves freely on social media. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. We expected to get word in terms of how the government is going to be working around this maze of ensuring that press freedom is ensured and freedom of expression is still upheld throughout this unrest that we're seeing right now in the country.
Mxolisi, the president has been criticized for being reactionary instead of preventative, especially with the public comment on the back of the jailing of the former president. He's also been criticized for insinuating that this is an ethnic mobilization. But tell us, do we know why these violence and protests were concentrated in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng?
Well, there are many sides to this coin because, of course, the unrest started in KZN, which is the hometown of the former statesman, President Jacob Zuma. Yesterday, when you would listen to some of the people that were on the ground in KZN looting, they came out to say that they're looting because they're showing solidarity to President Jacob Zuma. They felt that President Jacob Zuma was the only person who listened to the plight of South Africans. They feel that he was the only one who was in touch with the poor South Africans, the South Africans that live in far-flung poverty, engulfed areas in the country. Most of them feeling that they feel that President Cyril Ramaphosa is aloof to the plight of poor South Africans, saying that he answers mostly to white South Africans and he's in line and is aligned with white monopoly capital. So it's been accusations back and forth right now, with also hearing how this has been a tribal thing because it started in KZN with where the Zulu nation is dominant in. So we've also heard those reports coming out, and also racial tensions came out yesterday in KwaZulu-Natal, where we saw some what you'd call white farmers coming out to shoot at black people. So it's just being a case of back and forth and tensions everywhere trying to be quelled right now.
Okay, and just following on from that, are discussions being had anywhere about the root problems of poverty and perceived inequalities, or is the focus still solely on quashing the violence at the moment?
Well, we've heard some opposition parties officially coming to the table and saying they feel that the unrest and the looting we've seen in South Africa over the past couple of days stems from a greater problem. And the whole arrest of Jacob Zuma was just the tip of the iceberg. This could have been caused by a mere soccer match, because when you have a country where you have South Africans who are living beyond the poverty line, who are living hand in mouth and have to rely on the government grant, the government stipend, which could be cut off at any time at this point. You will have South Africans who won't be happy with that, and they will take to the streets to go and loot their next meal. It remains to be seen right now whether the South African government will use this as a wake-up call to come out with really sustainable solutions to all the social ills that have engulfed the country right now, where we're seeing the third wave of COVID-19. Vaccinations have been slowed down, and where we're seeing a high unemployment rate as well as inequality. So great solutions are needed going beyond this problem.
And just before we let you go, Mxolisi, what are your thoughts? The Zuma Foundation releasing a statement saying there will be no peace in South Africa until former President Jacob Zuma is released. How is that being received by the government of the day?
Well, the official opposition party, the Democratic Alliance, says this is utterly bizarre because they have been quiet all along. The daughter of the former president, Duduzile Zuma, has been going around on Twitter, just saying that, what did you expect? I mean, you've kept a man whom South Africans love so much behind bars. You're bound to see South Africans run amok. They said this is the reason why they've decided to go and open criminal charges against the daughter of the former president, Jacob Zuma, as well as the commander-in-chief of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, saying that they've incited violence. So reaction across the board in South Africa is saying that the main thing right now is for South Africans to unite and try and pick up the pieces. And most South Africans basically coming out to say the Zuma family should really be ignored at this time, where we're seeing so much disruptions that are going to take time for the country to recover from.
Thank you so much, Masango, our correspondent in South Africa, for keeping us abreast of developments there.